Put your heart, soul, and mind even into your smallest act. This is the secret of success. Good afternoon, dear students. Once again, I welcome you all to our online class. Morning session, we have completed our first chapter, The Living Bird. Now, we start our second chapter, The Animal Kingdom. Animal kingdom comprises millions of animal species, and studying them without a basic classification may lead to confusion. In addition to this, there are several new species of animal being constantly discovered. So, classification is very essential for identification, naming, and assigning a systematic position to the newly developed species. Animal kingdom is classified mainly based on the closely resembling characters. Animal kingdom is characterized of eukaryotic, multicellular, heterotrophic organism. What is eukaryotic? Animals they have well-defined nucleus and they are multicellular, many cells, heterotrophic organisms. They depend upon food for other organisms. They include about 35 phyla, of which 11 are considered as major phylums. Almost 99% of animals are invertebrates. That means animals without the backbone. The remaining represents the vertebrates, that is, the animals with backbone. So, on the basis of the presence or absence of a notochord, that means the vertebral column, animals are also categorized into two major groups, and they are called as non-chordates and chordates. Non-chordates means without vertebral column and chordates means with vertebral column. Multicellular organisms are structurally and functionally different, but they possess certain common fundamental features such as arrangement of cell layers, the level of organization, nature of coelom, the presence or absence of segmentation, notochord, and the organization of the organ system. Scientists have classified animals into various groups. Let us understand each of these basic fundamental features in detail. The level of organization, symmetry, cell organization, nature of coelom, segmentation, and presence or absence of notochord. First is the level of organization. The level of organization is the first basic fundamental feature that deals with the pattern of cell organization in an animal. There are four patterns of cell organization. They are the cellular, tissue, organ, and organ system level of organization. First is cellular organization. Cellular level of organization is seen in sponges. The cells in the sponges are arranged as loose aggregates and they do not form tissues. The cells are arranged in a loose, so they do not tightly packed. They exhibit a cellular level of organization. There, the division of labor, that means the work of each cells among the cells and the different types of cells are functionally isolated. In sponges, the outer layer is formed of pinacocytes, that means plate-like cells that maintain the size and structure of the sponge. So, pinacocytes, these are the cells that maintain the size and structure of the sponge. And the inner layer is formed of conococytes. These are flagellated collar cells that create and maintain water flow through the sponge, thus facilitating the respiratory and digestive functions. So, how the question will be asked, what are the two types of cells present in sponges? Very important 2 mark question. So what are the two types of cells? One is pinacocytes, which is the outer layer which helps to maintain the size and structure of the sponge, and the inner layer is called as conocytes. They are flagellated collar cells that facilitates digestive and respiratory functions. Next is the tissue level of organization. The tissue level of organization is exhibited in diploplastic animals like cnidarians. The formation of tissues is the first step towards the evolution of body plan in animals. Next is organ level of organization. Organ level of organization exhibit in platyhelminthes and hyophilas, where different kinds of tissues aggregate to perform a specific function. And the next is the organ system level of organization. Each system is associated with a specific function and show organ system level of organization, such as digestive, lymphatic, and nervous system. Organ system level of organization exhibit in arthropods, annelids, mollusks, and echinoderms and chordates. Chordates also exhibit organ system level of organization, which can be very primitive and simple or complex depending upon the individual animal. Incomplete digestive system is seen in planaria, where the mouth and anus serve as a single opening, which mouth and anus serve as single opening, whereas in a man the complete digestive system takes place where mouth and anus with two different openings. Circulatory system also divided into two, open and the closed circulatory system. Next we move on to the symmetry. Patterns of symmetry. Symmetry is the body arrangement in which parts that lie on opposite side of an axis are identical. That means if you cut the animal, both sides are equal. So symmetry is a body arrangement in which the parts that lie on opposite side of an axis are identical. So this animal's body plan results from the animal's pattern of development. The simplest body plan is seen in sponges. They do not display symmetry and they are called as asymmetrical. If an organism do not show any symmetry, they are called as asymmetrical. A means absence. Such animals lack a definite body plan because these sponges are cellular grade organization. It is made up of cells, not tissues. So they lack the definite body plan, and the animals which are irregular in shape can't able to divide them into two equal halves. So if an animal is lacking a definite body plan and irregular shape, they does not divide them into two equal halves. An asymmetrical body plan is also seen in gastropods such as snails. Snails are gastropods. And second one is the radially symmetrical. Symmetrical animals have a paired body parts that are arranged on either side of a plane passing through the central axis. When any plane passing through the central axis of the body divides an organism into two identical parts, it is called as a radial symmetry. Such radial symmetrical animals have top and bottom side. These animals have top side and bottom side, but no dorsal. Dorsal means back, and the ventral, front side. No right, no left. They have only top and bottom. This you can see in this picture, some coelentrates. They have top and bottom. They do not have the left and right sides. They have a body plan in which the body parts are organized in a circle round an axis. So, best example for this is coelentrates such as sea anemones and corals. They are radially symmetrical. Radially symmetrical means the animals have
top and bottom side, but they do not have dorsal, ventral or right and left sides. However, triploplastic animals like echinoderms, that means starfish, they have 5 planes of symmetry and show pentamerous radial symmetry. Penta 5. So these starfish have 5 limbs. So this you can see in this picture how the symmetry takes place in starfish. So in starfish, it exhibits a pentamerous radial symmetry. Animals which possess 2 pairs of symmetrical sides are said to be biradially symmetrical. The animals which possess 2 pairs of symmetrical sides are said to be biradially symmetrical. So example for this is comb jellies. And animals which have 2 similar halves on either side of the central plane, which shows bilaterally symmetrical. So even animals are bilaterally symmetrical. So animals which have 2 similar halves on either side, if we cut, you can see in this picture the butterfly. So if we cut in the central plane, the 2 halves have same identical parts. So this is called as bilateral symmetry. It is an advantageous type of symmetry in triploplastic animals which helps in seeking food, locating their mates and escaping from the predators more efficiently. Animals that have the dorsal and the ventral sides, anterior and posterior ends, right and left sides are bilaterally symmetrical and exhibit cephalization. What is cephalization? Cephalization means a forming of a head in which the sensory and the brain structures are concentrated at the anterior part of the animal. You can see in the head having the brain and the sensory structures. So this is about a bilateral symmetry. So there are 3 parts of symmetry: asymmetrical, radially symmetrical and bilaterally symmetrical. Next is the cell organization. So based on the cellular organization, animals can be classified into 2 types: diploplastic and triploplastic. Diploplastic means the animals in which the cells are arranged in 2 embryonic layers, the external ectoderm and the internal endoderm. It is found in corals and jellyfishes. Whereas in planarians or platyhelminthes, the animals have 3 germinal layers: ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. So they are called as triploplastic animals. The ectoderm and endoderm has the middle layer, the mesoderm. Next, we move on to the nature of coelom. Nature of coelom. Coelom is nothing but a body cavity present between the body wall and the alimentary canal, which is lined by the mesoderm. And based on this nature of coelom, the animals can be classified into 3: coelomate, acoelomate and pseudocoelomate. Coelomate means true coelom, acoelomate means absence of coelom and pseudocoelomate means false coelom. First we see what is coelomate. Coelomate is a fluid-filled cavity that develops within the mesoderm and it is found in annelids, mollusks, arthropods, echinoderms, hemichordates and chordates. Next we move on to acoelomate. Animals which do not possess a body cavity are called as acoelomate. It is found in platyhelminthes. Next is pseudocoelomate. The body cavity is not fully lined by the mesodermal epithelium, but the mesoderm is scattered as pouches between the ectoderm and endoderm. Coelom is a fluid-filled cavity that develops within the mesoderm and is lined by mesodermal epithelium called peritoneum. Based on the mode of formation of coelom, the eucoelomates are classified into 2 types: schizocoelomate and enterocoelomate animals. What are schizocoelomate? The animals, the body cavity is formed by splitting of mesoderms. The mesoderms get split, so they are called as schizocoelomate. Examples: annelids, arthropods and mollusks. And in enterocoelomate animals, The body cavity is formed from mesodermal pouches of organteron. Pouches means bags of organteron means space. So it formed like a space, mesoderms as spaces. So example, echinoderms, hemichordates and chordates. Next is segmentation. In some animals, the body is externally and internally divided into series of repeated units called segments. The simplest form of segmentation is found in annelids, in which each unit of the body is very similar to the next one. It is called as metamerism. Next, we move on to notochord. Animals which possess notochord at any stage of their development are called chordates. Notochord is a mesodermally derived rod-like structure formed on the dorsal side during embryonic development in some animals. Based on the presence or absence of a notochord, animals are classified as chordates. That means it consists of cephalochordates, urochordates, fishes to mammals, and non-chordates from porifera to hemichordata. Animal kingdom is divided into two subkingdoms, the parazoa and the eumetazoa, based on their organization. Parazoa. Parazoa includes multicellular sponges and the cells are loosely arranged and they do not form tissues or organs. Eumetazoa are multicellular with well-defined tissues. These eumetazoa include two taxonomic levels called grades and they include radiata and bilateria. Grade radiata. This radiata are radially symmetrical and diploplastic. Two layers of cells, the ectoderm and endoderm, are separated by jelly-like mesoglia. Mesoglia is present in radiata. Example, cnidarians. Bilateria. The bilateria are bilaterally symmetrical and triploplastic. This great bilateria includes two levels called divisions. It includes protostomia and deuterostomia. What is protostomia? Proto means first, stomium means mouth. This protostomia, the embryonic blastopore, develops into mouth. They include the subdivisions acylometa, pseudocoelometa and cystocoelometa. The blastopore develops into mouth. In deuterostomia, the anus is near the blastopore and the mouth is present away from the blastopore. It includes only one subdivision, enterocoelometa. Based on the presence or absence of notochord, the animals can be classified into non-chordates and chordates. Non-chordates are animals that do not possess a notochord, and these non-chordates are divided into different phylums starting from porifera to echinodermata. In today's class, we will discuss from porifera to Ascalmanthus. First is phylum Porifera. These are pore-bearing animals commonly called as sponges. And they are aquatic, primitive, multicellular, marine, asymmetrical and sessile animal with cellular level of organization. And the body is supported by a skeleton made up of calcareous or siliceous spicules or spongin. They possess a water transport system or a canal system where waters enter through the minute pore called ostia lining the body wall, through which the water enters into the central cavity called spongocoel and goes out through the osculum. This water transport system is helpful in food gathering, circulation and respiration. There is another cell called conocytes or collar cells or specialized flagellated cells lining the spongocoel and the canals. Here, the reproduction is by asexual reproduction by fragmentation or gemule formation, and sexual reproduction by formation of gametes. The development is indirect with different types of larval stages such as parenchyma and amphiblastula. Example, Sycon, Spongilla and Euplectella. These are the examples of phylum Podifera. The next phylum is phylum Coelenterata or Cnidaria. These animals are aquatic, they are marine, sessile or free living, radially symmetrical, diploplastic animals with tissue level of organization. The example for these are Hydra and Admasia. It is made up of calcium carbonate. This has a mouth, tentacles around it. So this mouth is called as hypostomes. This coelenterata is also called as cnidarians. That means stringing cells. A single opening called mouth is present. It is also called as hypostome. The digestion is both extracellular and intracellular. And cnidarians exhibit two basic body forms, polyp and medusa. The polyp forms are sessile and cylindrical. Sessile means they do not move, whereas the medusa are umbrella shaped and free living. Example for this is Obelia. And cnidarians which exhibit in both forms also exhibit alternation of generation in their life cycle called metagenesis. The polyp represents the asexual reproduction and the medusa represents the sexual generation. Polyps produces medusa asexually and medusa forms polyps sexually. Example, Physalia, Panatula, etc. The larva in this cnidaria is the planula larva. And the next phylum you are going to see is the Ctenophora. They are called as comb-bearing animals. They are ctenophores or comb-bearing animals. They are marine, radially symmetrical, diploplastic with tissue level of organization. They have 8 external rows of ciliated comb plates called as comb jellies which helps in locomotion. That means movement. And digestion is both extracellular and intracellular. They exhibit a special character called bioluminescence. The ability of a living organism to emit light is well marked in ctenophores. The fertilization is external and the development is indirect and includes the larval stage called ctipid larva. The fertilization is external. Example, Plurobranchia and Ctenoplana. These are the examples of Ctenophora. Next, we move on to the phylum Platyhelminthes. They have dorsally flattened body, hence they are called as flatworms. So these platyhelminthes are called as flatworms. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploplastic, acoelomate animal with organ system level of organization. They are mostly endoparasites of animals including human beings. They live as an endoparasite that lives inside the host. They have hooks and suckers are present in the parasitic forms and serve as an organ of attachment. The specialized excretory cells called the flame cells help in osmoregulation and excretion. So excretion and osmoregulation is done by flame cells. The sexes are not separate, fertilization is internal and the development is through larval stages including many larvae, Miracidium, sporocyte larva, radia larva. Some members of the planaria show high degree of regeneration capacity. Example, Tinea solium and blood fluke. Next one is the phylum Ascalmanthus. Phylum Ascalmanthus The body of this phylum is circular in cross section, hence they are called as roundworm. Platyhelminthes is flatworm and Ascalmanthus is roundworm. They are free living or parasitic on aquatic and terrestrial plants and animals. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploplastic, and pseudocoelomate animals with organ system level of organization. The body is unsegmented and covered by a transparent cuticle. The alimentary canal is complete with well-developed mouth, muscular pharynx, and anus. They have an excretory pore called rennet gland. The sexes are separate and exhibit sexual dimorphism. Often, females are longer than the males. Fertilization is internal. Majority are oviparous, example ascaris, and few are viviparous, ovoviviparous, example Eucharia. Dear students, I hope you all can understand the concept taught today. If you have any doubt, feel free to ask me personally. Do the assignment given and submit. Thank you.